Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another single song reaction here on the channel. This is something that I'm excited to do. I just heard part of this song earlier today on the radio. So, very rarely do we ever have the opportunity to talk about local music from Nebraska. Because in the population of Nebraska is about like 1.2 million, 1 million of which live in Omaha, and the rest of which live in Lincoln, and the rest of which are just people like me that live out on a farm somewhere.
It's just
and we don't
wandered
really count.
Individuals scattering through fields.
Yeah, we don't really count towards the population. But there's not very many bands of note to come from Nebraska. The biggest, of course, being who, Chris?
311.
311, of course. And
The
then
Faint.
also The Faint. The singer from Imagine Dragons was born in Iowa, but then moved to Nebraska and grew up as a kid in Nebraska. So he says he's sort of from Nebraska.
Okay.
So that would probably be the biggest band. But he's been living in LA now for the last like 20 some years or whatever. So I don't think he's necessarily. But yeah, I was lucky enough to see Imagine Dragons when they performed at the Waiting Room with like 40 other people. Right,
which is
like,
wild.
Right before they released their EP with Radioactive and all their songs on it, and just exploded. And they actually opened the show before our friend Graham played for one of their CD release
Which is
shows.
crazy.
So
It's crazy.
it is insane. And I will also say, too, to give credit to our friends, the Burkhams, we do have some musician friends who are in bands that are very much worth checking out. So while we're talking about local music, you can look up a band called Sky Piper if you want to do more sort of folky, kind of gospel-y, folky, indie stuff. But then also they have a band that's sort of more Black Keys-ish, I would say, called Jagajaw, which is spelled Jagaja. I have the vinyl record somewhere over here. But for the most part, there's not a lot of bands of note from Nebraska. And I heard one of the radio stations that is, it's technically from Iowa Western Community College, which is actually the college that Chris Schoenberg teaches music theory, or not music theory, music mix listening and a couple of other classes at. He works in the audio department at Iowa Western, I believe.
Cool.
But they have a radio station there that's, when I was in high school and stuff, it was the radio station I listened to the most.
It's really the only one worth listening to, because
Well,
otherwise you're getting corporate Clear Channel stuff, and it's either country or know classics.
Yeah, and so there is a station here called The River, and they're a community college radio station, and they play everything, and that's really great. Like, one of my favorite things they do is from noon to 1 every day, they play just an hour of covers, and they're all covers that people call in or go online and send in requests for. So they'll play anything that anyone wants, any cover song, and at night, they'll play local music for like a couple of hours at night on certain days of the week. But
I remember on Friday nights years ago, like 2007, 5, 6, 7, they had, I don't know if they shared the space or what, but they had like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. was an EDM radio show called Subterranean.
Oh, interesting.
And it was awesome. Awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, they have like a metal hour at night too, where they'll do like hardcore metal music. But during the day, though, the cool thing is they are the kind of radio station that could play like 21 Pilots, followed by Slipknot, followed by Weezer, followed by Blur, followed by Rob Zombie, followed by you name it, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. I've always enjoyed that about them. And I very rarely listen to the radio. But today, we were at the hospital getting chemo, and then we stopped at a Walmart so we could get some groceries, and I didn't feel like going in, so I sat in the 92-degree vehicle outside just listening to a CD for a while. And when I ejected the CD, the station that it was on was The River, and it was this I was like, why is this playing on the radio? Because it was a very heavy song, like a song that is heavier than they would normally play on The River. And so I was like,
I mean, and that's saying something.
Yes. And so I was like, what is this? And at first I thought it was a new Spirit Box song. So that gives you a little bit of a idea of what it sounds like. But then the more I listened to it, the more I was like, no, I think this is clearly a male singer. And I was listening to it and I was like praying to God, please let them say what this is when it's over.
Because sometimes they don't.
Otherwise, I'll never know who this is because I never listen to the radio, and I am not going to start listening to the radio just to find out what the song is.
Right.
So after the song was over, they played this little like clip that said that was our featured local artist who is gaining popularity called Catsclaw with their song whatever. And I was like, what? That was first of all, the fact that it was a local song blew my mind. The fact that it was so unbelievably crushingly heavy blew my mind. Because we're talking 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. You know, this is not like midnight.
On a Thursday.
Yeah, this is some old lady could be flipping through the stations and have a heart attack.
Yep, she didn't get past it.
She ended up on there. So we're going to listen to this. I heard it on a very compressed radio station that doesn't have the hottest signal. And I haven't listened to this yet. They have a Spotify channel. So I brought them up on Spotify. They have an EP that they released last year with I think 4 songs on it or 3 songs, and then they have 1 song that they released this year, as far as I can see. And so this song is called "Become the Blade." It's 3 minutes 14 seconds long. I hope that this is the first single off of an album that they're going to release. I do not know if they recorded this in Omaha. If they did, where they recorded it,
good
or
question.
if they went somewhere else and recorded it and they're just from Omaha, I have no clue. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're tour. I don't know anything about this band at all. All I know is I heard the second half of this song and I was like, what on earth is this?
I'm looking forward to this.
So Chris, let's go ahead and give this a listen. This is "Become the Blade" by local. Can you back up real quick and just see how many listens they get per month?
I can tell you that they've had 2.8K plays in total via YouTube Music, but
YouTube Music. Okay, so basically nothing. So this is basically an unknown band. Mm-hmm. So, folks, you heard it here first. Okay, if this band blows up, we called it.
Yep.
Okay.
And if they don't,
if they don't,
hear nothing.
Yeah. Well, then we're introducing you to a cool local Nebraska band.
Yeah, looks like, and according to Spotify, "Become the Blade" has 40,429.
Okay, so that's pretty good for.
So it's not bad.
That's pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready to listen to this?
I am, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just hit play, and you can hit play a couple seconds after that, so we're sort of on the same time.
Yeah.
All right, I'm hitting play in 3, 2, 1. It blew my eardrums off. Yeah!
Wild. Jeez.
Yes! Yes!
The same thing that the
Whew. Okay, so how did you feel about that?
How similar would you say that is to other songs in that genre?
The only thing I think I've ever heard like that is Spirit Box.
Interesting, okay.
Because to me, that was all about, like... Spirit Box, the first time I heard Holy Roller, I was like, this is like... I've never heard anything like this. And remember, if you remember at the time, I described it as like the metal version of Satisfy by Nero, right? Because it's totally cheating. It's just, it's the same thing. Thank you. The air shut off. It's cheating. It straight up is cheating. I mean, the deviation of the notes in that song that we just heard is like one semitone. Like, it's nothing. It's the same thing. But it's about the atmosphere. It's about the underlying synth stuff, that's the menace that's there. It's about the vocal rhythm. It's about the heaviness of what you're hearing. It's about the low frequencies in the guitar tracks, which you could hear when they were playing by themselves just for a second. I don't know of any other music that's like that, because that was essentially just a breakdown in song form, right? And I have heard other things like that, but most other things that I've heard that are sort of attempting that are still sound like more of a band.
Right, they sound more like songs.
Right, like to me that was more like, it was like a breakdown for 3 minutes. And that's all it was.
Yeah.
And I do feel like it got a bit tedious. You know, there was nothing breaking it up. It was basically the same thing the whole time. I liked the vocal rhythm. I think the quality of the recording was pretty much as good as that could be. I think that the lows and the highs were as good as it could be. I think the first time I heard Holy Roller, I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard something like this before. And this, to me, sonically sounded basically just like that.
Interesting.
Minus a lot more of the electronic elements. And the Holy Roller changes what it's doing like two times throughout. And it's a little bit more chaotic. This was more like everything was a staccato note, right? It was just there and gone, and it was just patterns like that. No note was ever held out. And
right, it wasn't really a song. In all the ways that you would consider a song to exist.
Now, if I went and saw, well, first of all, I'd be terrified to death to go see them live, because the two dudes that would be there in the crowd mosh pitting would literally be cutting each other up with knives and chainsaws and stuff. Because how could you listen? How could you listen to that and not want to just kill people and murder people with weapons and anything you have at hand? Because that's what that makes me. That music makes me feel like I want to murder people in a good way.
Great.
You know, just pedophiles and stuff, like just the bad guys. You know, just like rough them up.
Yep.
And
keep digging.
but what I hope happens is they release. I haven't heard any of their other songs. They have like 5 or 6 other songs on there from last year. I'm hoping their other songs are not all just like that, and that they do have singing and they have more structured parts, and that is clearly just their Holy Roller to just get people to go nuts. And then they have moments like that in their other songs, but their other songs are a little bit more traditional. That's what I hope.
That is something to hope for. Yeah, I don't think that that's what will happen, but
yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. I just, like I said, I explained it already. Like that is a much heavier song than you would normally hear on the radio, even on the river. And I only heard the second half of it, really the last like 30 seconds. Maybe the last minute. So like I didn't know that the 2 minutes before that were the same thing. I do think the vocal rhythm was cool though, and I liked that. for what it was. But like I said, if their whole album was just that, like 10 songs of that, too much. But if there's more to some of their other songs, and that is just their holy roller, then I get it, and I think they did it as well as they could.
Yeah, it's got promise.
Yeah, and
in that way, and I think it does sound pretty impressive. I would say for what I would expect for a band out of Omaha, for sure. It also, there's a thing that I've noticed throughout all of my time around bands coming out of Omaha, except for the couple that we've heard in our, that we consider notable, especially when it comes to metal, is that they always seem to want to take a route that is like supremely inaccessible. And like, this is not my kind of music really at all. I would have never had any interest in listening to something that sounds like this. But the element that makes me think that the rest of their music will be like this, more like this, is the things that I've seen in the past from Omaha metal bands, just for whatever reason, choosing a route that I think most people would consider to be unlistenable. It's just really not, I don't want it to be as necessarily awful as that sounds, but I have been a little bit frustrated with that particular genre from that place over the years.
Yeah, like I don't know a lot of like local metal bands, but the ones that I do know of, like there are a few that I would consider to be like noteworthy, but other than that, a majority of them are pretty interchangeable with each other.
Sure.
And and it seems like they all are kind of doing the like Midwest metalcore type thing, and that's not really, doesn't really speak to me. For me, the most impressive thing about this was the production. Like, I think the low frequencies were great. I think the guitars sounded phenomenal. And they were doing all of the things that the guitars did that blew my mind in Holy Roller. Like, just the sounds that the guitar was making that weren't necessarily guitar notes. That was all here.
Like almost like a harmonic, like the whines and the bends and stuff.
Yeah, yes. And also some bends and things. And then also just like, I don't even know the terms for it, so I can't even explain it. But just like different, using the guitar to make sort of like sound effects and things in between the big chunky chunks. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think that's cool. I'm excited. I will listen to these guys' other songs and see, and maybe in the future I'll check back in with everybody and let everybody know. But I think that... I'd
like to hear how it goes.
I just wanted to highlight this and listen to it, because that was the first time I heard it as well, really. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think that they have promise, especially if the production is high
for sure. It would make me wonder, like you said, where did they produce this? Like, I don't know of many studios in Omaha other than B, which is gone.
There's places in Omaha, but the other thing I should mention too, just because, like, one of the reasons I dislike a lot of local bands, metal bands, is because I don't care for the screaming parts of it. Sure. Like, I just either they're trying to be a good singer and they don't have the screams, or they can't sing at all and they're good at screaming. This guy just did the screams the whole time, and I thought they were done very well.
Yeah.
And there were different styles that he was using a little bit in there. For the most part, it was the same kind of thing, but he was using more of like a rhythm to it, like almost like a hip-hoppy rap rhythm to go along.
It almost had some Demon Hunter in it, honestly, I think.
I could see that, the way that he was doing it, and I liked that. I found his harsh vocals to be enjoyable to listen to. Because a lot of harsh vocals, for me, if they're higher pitched, it might be harder for me to get into them. And if they're just like too guttural, it's too much. And this was not a yell. It was still It was still the growly that I'm looking for.
Yeah, and honestly, I think like the level of not music that this was would generally come with like the pig vocal, or just like the the thing that's just completely unlistenable mess. And to keep it within the realm of like, no, this guy can clearly do this and do it well, was nice.
Yes. That's a great way to put it. Exactly. So, this doesn't have to be anything else. I just thought that was a fun thing we could highlight, and if in the future this band breaks out and becomes big, we can say, hey, we did this first. It's all because of us. So
Yeah, we did it. Yeah.
so
I can't wait to see how many views this gets.
zero.
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 Yeah, zero.
More than our
and then
Joywave,
it'll-
more than me and Cody's Joywave album reaction, though. I guarantee
Which
that.
is
It's at like 178, which sucks because that album is like one of the best albums of the year. So, but whatever.
You should just say that it's a Metallica album and then just talk about Joywave. Like, just lie.
Which, by the way, was it you? No, it was someone in the comments. There is a full Metallica Apocalyptic album. It just came out last week.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, someone in the
listeners
comments,
too.
I think, was arguing with me that there was only 4 songs. And I was like, no,
Oh,
I'm
I
pretty sure
see.
there's a whole album coming out. And they were like, no, I don't think so. And I looked, and it just came out. But it is a full Metallica, like, Apocalyptic album. So we should
Is that the first time they've done that?
No, I think it's their 3rd album.
Oh, okay.
Either their 2nd or 3rd, which I haven't heard the first 2 at all. But, like,
Yeah. I saw them live once 10,000 years ago, and I don't remember any of the songs they did.
Apocalyptica?
Yeah.
Well, I just know them because they did a lot of stuff with the Rasmus. They're both Finnish bands.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, we should absolutely react to the new Apocalyptic album while it's in the zeitgeist. And I did hear people saying that there's a version they released with like James Hetfield, like of One, where they played through One, and James Hetfield is like narrating the song. That's apparently like really bad and like reaching like Lulu levels of bad.
I was just gonna say, are we talking more Lulu stuff
yeah,
here?
I think
Like,
so. From the comments that I read, I was like, but maybe that would be really entertaining to react to.
I gotta hear it. Yeah.
Save it, and we'll try to react.
No,
to
yeah, I'll wait for sure.
So okay. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this, everybody. And yeah, we'll catch up with these guys if they're worth catching up with in the future. Thank you very much. If anyone wants to shout out any cool local bands from wherever you're from, I don't care what country it's from, what language they speak, what city you're from, let me know. We'll check some things out. We might not necessarily react to them, but if I listen to something and it blows my mind, I might think about it.
Yeah, we get a collection of them. Maybe we do like a local band showcase.
Yeah, that could absolutely be a fun thing to do, especially if we ever start doing live videos.
Yeah.
Where we don't have to necessarily worry about keeping everything super like to the books, and then when we just, if it gets uploaded, it does, and if not, whoever's watching live can watch live, but it's not worth it if there's only gonna be 50 people there. So all right, thank you everybody. We will see you all next time.